Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Tony, and this is Terrible Ties with Tony. Today, we're going to be working with a really fun pattern to tie, the woolly bugger. You can choose all sorts of colors, some different variations inside of what's kind of the standard. So, we're glad to have you here with us. If you want to see more videos and more patterns, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and comment below with any patterns that you'd like to see us do tutorials on. So here's what you're going to need for your woolly bugger today. You're going to need some weighted wire. You're going to need some small silver wire for your rib. I'm doing a white pattern today, so you're going to need some white thread. You need a hook and a bead sized to each other. In this case, I'm using a size 10 with a 5/32 bead. A little bit easier to see for the videos. You're going to need some marabou blood quills, some chenille, some bugger hackle. I like to put a little bit of sparkle in these with some, you can use tinsel or flash or other sparkly materials. That's all you need to get started. So let's get to it. All right, now that we've got all of our supplies, let's get started. Got our bead on our hook and our hook in the vise. I like to start my thread before I lay down my weighted wire, just so the wire has a little bit of something to stick to. So we'll get that jam knot started and wrap about halfway back on your hook. And you're going to want to grab your weighted wire and start making wraps right up against each other all the way up to the bead. Take your knot tying scissors so that you protect your tying scissors. Snip that wire off. I like to take some hemos or some little pliers, kind of crimp that front edge down. Now you want to tuck that wire all the way up to the bead, then come through with a few wraps to lock that guy in there. And then you should be able to take the rest of your wire and wrap that back along itself. It's probably enough right there, so I'll snip that off. And again, come in with some pliers, crimp that wire down. I'll wrap back to the back of my wire. Get a good thread base down. And stop right at the back of your weighted wire. Now you want to grab your marabou feather, and you'll see if you clump this up, they get kind of stringy towards the end. So I like to clump it down nice and tight. Yank off those fuzzy parts. Get a little bit tighter tail that way. Pull out any fuzzy bits as well. Much more natural looking. Now I like to wet mine down before I attach it to the fly, just so it stays a little bit more out of my way. So you usually want about a hook shank in length. So give it a loose wrap or two, and then we can make some adjustments. Probably end up being pretty happy with that right there. So we'll go ahead and lock it in. If you hold it up as you wrap back, you can help keep it up on top of the hook. And once you're back here, you can make a wrap on the opposite side to help keep it up there. Wrap back to your wire. Now we can snip this off and get it out of our way. Couple wraps to snug that down, but that'll get hidden. So now grab your Krystal Flash. I use about 3 pieces of this here. Find about the center. And get that locked in. A couple of wraps for now. Now I'm going to take 1/2 on this side of my marabou, 1/2 on the opposite side, and wrap backwards towards our tail. And wrap back to the back of your bead. You're going to want to cut these off right about the length of your tail. And we're going to come back in and get our silver wire attached here. And wrap that back to your tail. And people have different preferences here. Some people like to start their chenille up by the bead. I personally like to start it back here. It's a little bit less bulk through the body that way. Quick 1 or 2 turn whip finish here so that I can use the rotary function on my vise. Put that in our bobbin holder. And then we'll wrap this forward up to the bead. Right next to each other the whole way up. Don't try to pack too many wraps in up near your bead so that you have some room to finish your fly out. So we're going to come up and over that chenille to lock that in. A few good wraps on both sides. And we can snip that out of here. Now you're going to want to take your hackle, pull just a few fibers out from the end so you have a little bit of stem to tie in. You want to tie this in with the shiny side towards you. Make sure to get a few tight wraps on that to secure it in place. And again, I'll take a couple whip finish turns so I can use the rotary function here. And take 2 tight wraps right at the bead before you start moving backwards. And then you'll see that your hackle will follow the pattern in your chenille. And when you get back to your tail, take your wire and lock that hackle down. And now you're going to want to counter wrap this wire forward trying to catch as few hackle fibers as you can underneath it. Wiggling it back and forth a little bit as you go will help with that. And once you get back up to your bead, you're going to want to lock that wire in nice and tight. Both sides. And you can either snip or wiggle that out of there. So now you want to pull all your hackle towards the back of the hook a little bit so that you can get some nice tight finishing wraps in there. And then we'll add a whip finish. And then we're done with our tying thread. Now you can also come back in, snip your extra hackle out of there. Even though we're all locked into place pretty good, I do like to use a dab of UV cement right on the top in there to really lock it in. And there you have it, your woolly booger. And this tail will dry out on its own, or a few casts will get it flinging in the air and dry it out for you. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. And let us know what you think about how your first attempts at the woolly booger went. Tight lines until next time, everyone. Now get out there and catch some fish, and let us know what you got them with.